Hi cuties, so here we are on Once Upon a Katamari. Now if you know anything about me, JakDaRipper, you know I am the biggest Katamari game fan of all time, okay? It's been in every single one of my videos, the music in particular, it's been in every single one of my videos since day one, alright? It's my patented swag outro, alright? No, but seriously, the Katamari games mean a lot to me, so of course you know I had to hop on here and review the newest mainline title in the franchise, you know, for the first time in like 14 years, you know I had to review Once Upon a Katamari, okay? Yes, like I said, this is the newest game in the Katamari franchise, and it's the newest mainline title in the franchise in over 14 years. But a lot of people are discounting the one that came out on Apple Arcade, Rolling Live. That game is a banger, okay? I mean, that's just straight up Katamari banger. I love it. But this is the real deal console experience, though. So, I'm not gonna lie, the reason why this took so long is because I did buy it on my Switch, but I don't have any capture card or anything like that. I just do everything on my computer. So I couldn't record gameplay for you guys, so I just decided to wait, and here I am on my computer now. So this is my second copy of the game. I'm basically restarting, and I figured I'd hop on here, play it with y'all, and talk about what it does so well. I guess I can just start off by saying, like, if you have no idea what the Katamari games are all about, you play as a prince, and you have to roll things up into a ball for your king. I know it sounds really stupid, but it's basically, I mean, it's like trying to explain, you know, like a Mario game. It's like, you gotta save Princess Peach, you know. It's like, it's a very simple, basic concept, but you know, it gets the job done, okay? Every game has like a slightly different precursor that leads to the reason why you're rolling everything up into a ball, and this one is different, but I won't spoil that, I guess. But yeah, I really just want to talk about how stellar this game is, and I honestly think it's probably the best starting point for somebody that's never played a Katamari game before, honestly. I'll always just vouch for the first Katamari damacy, but I mean, if you wanted to hop into a Katamari game, this is, I mean, it's amazing. So firstly, I do want to talk about these hub areas. I think they're absolutely incredible here. It's not the first time we've ever gotten a hub area in a Katamari game. I mean, it's kind of like a staple. These ones remind me a lot of the ones that we got on the PSP title, Me and My Katamari, another one of my favorites, probably top 3. But they're a little bit more expansive this time around, and I will say the addition of the SS Prince, the spaceship that you can go into, I think this really tips it over the edge as being the best hub area in all the Katamari games. It's a super small, basic thing, but the character customization this time around is absolutely incredible. Like the way you can mess around with all these, look at this. You can make your own custom cousin, or, you know, you can just play around and select whoever you want, and I think that's really sick. I do want to say as well, I recommend checking out my Katamari retrospective video I did. It's one of my favorite videos I did on the channel. I believe it's like a year ago now, which is crazy. But yeah, I basically went through the entirety of the franchise, starting from the first game. And it's like I said, it's one of my favorite videos I've ever made, and I think it's like super in-depth if you just want to learn more about like the history of these games. I'm not really going to be talking about the old ones too much here, as I really want to focus on just how great this plays as a modern title. But yeah, the Katamari games are my shit, so you know I had to hop on here and review this. I'm just so fucking excited, dude. I really like the premise of this Katamari game. The premise of this Katamari game is really interesting to me because you're going to be rolling up your Katamari in all different sorts of time periods. You go to like a Jurassic time period, there's a cowboy time period. It's just really cool. Here's an example of what you're going to be doing if, you know, you've never really seen Katamari gameplay, I suppose. And I know it seems really basic and stupid and simple, but it's so addicting, man. These games just mean so much to me. And this title actually does have a lot of cool improvements. I believe they have a simplified control scheme for people that don't like the dual thumbstick control setting. I personally love that the most. One of my favorite additions for the controls in this new title is instead of shaking both thumbsticks like up and down vigorously to go this fast, they changed it to where you can actually just press LT or L2, and it's just made it so much easier and simpler, I think. Because sometimes when you're doing this, right, and you're like shaking up and down, you kind of like turn a little bit, if you can see that, I don't know. But if you're just doing LT, you can stay on a straight course. I know it probably seems like a really small thing, but it's subtle differences like that that help it become a modern title in my eyes. Obviously, the Katamari games are never going to be gigantic, huge AAA experiences, and it's insane because, honestly, this game kind of flew under my radar a little bit, and that's coming from someone that's a big Katamari fan. I feel like Bandai Namco kind of like, I don't want to say dropped the ball, but I just don't know why they didn't promote this game at all, dude. I forgot it was coming out until like a few days before, and I was like, oh yeah, I did buy that. In my opinion, the Katamari games, it's like you can't really go wrong with any of them. I mean, like, even the lowest of lows, the worst one you can possibly play, you're still gonna have some decent fun, you know? I'd say some of my least favorites are the Touch My Katamari one. I was not a big fan of that. And as far as this game goes, I really don't know what the scores are, the review scores. I saw IGN gave it a 9 out of 10, which is like, wow, I love to see it personally because that's what I would give it. I just love how much the Katamari games just feel like that peak PlayStation 2 experience, if that makes any sense. It's just like simple, dumb fun for about 10 to 12 hours, depending on your playstyle, and they just make me happy every single time I play them. That is the only reason why any of us should ever be playing video games, you know what I mean? Not to mention the soundtrack, especially in this game, is just absolutely remarkable. And in this title, you can actually get the older songs as well, which is always a bonus. I mean, you know, Lonely Rolling Star is my outro on every single one of my videos. The amount of comments I get from people saying like, oh, what is that outro? I've never heard that song before. It breaks my heart because you haven't experienced the peak that is Katamari. Yeah, I said it before, and I kind of stand by it. I think this title would be a fantastic first Katamari game for anybody that just wants to hop into the franchise. It's only 40 bucks right now, and I'm sure it's eventually going to go on sale. These games probably don't sell crazy at all. It's got all the modern day quality of life things you would expect in a 2025 game. I mean, the settings aren't crazy. You know, you can't get like 4K Ultra HD ray trace graphics and all that, but I'm sure it can run on most rigs, and that's just pretty awesome. Like I said, I played it on my Switch 2, didn't notice any sort of frame rate bugs, glitches, nothing like that. It's just a solid, great experience where you're just doing this. You're just rolling shit up. But this one actually does have a lot of cool new additions as well that I will show you guys. But yeah, the Katamari series is such a weird one because, you know, in my head I think of it as like a PlayStation franchise, but nowadays it obviously releases everywhere. But it's one of those weird series that has like a, you know, there's an Xbox 360 exclusive one, there's a PlayStation 3 exclusive one, there's PSP exclusives. It's just so weird. Like, it's sort of just bounced around and never really had like a true identity, if that makes any sense, just in terms of like the platforms in which they've been released on. In the game before this, the fact that it was like an Apple Arcade exclusive is crazy to me. I will say one thing about the Switch version, it's not like incredible by any means, and I really wish they did a Switch 2 port because I'm sure the Switch 2 could run that game at like 120 frames per second. I'm getting 240 right now on my PC. Not that that matters in a Katamari game at all, do not get me wrong. It's a shame we didn't get like a physical Switch 2 game cartridge. I would have loved to have had that on my shelf. It's a damn shame. Once Upon a Katamari has great new multiplayer modes, which have never really been my thing. I mean, I kind of got into it on Beautiful Katamari on the Xbox 360, but I mean, I be getting washed online, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some sweaty Katamari players out there, which is something I never thought I would say, but yeah. I really like the Katamari Ball game mode in here, where it's just basically, you know, you're just trying to rack up as many points as you can by becoming the biggest ball possible and then dropping it off at certain points in the map. They have two different modes. You can play online against real people. You can do offline mode, so either way, it's super duper fun. Yeah, this is just like a Katamari game where it's just like, I mean, everything is bigger and badder. It's like the most amount of cousins we've ever had to play around with. It's like the most amount of maps we've ever got to play with, I think. I didn't do it on my Switch, but I think on my PC I want to try to get like every single crown, every single cousin, because it's something I never really, I haven't done it since like the PS2 ones, I'll say. We Love Katamari is my absolute favorite. That's another great one for you to jump into if you're okay with like a little bit of jank and a little bit of, you know, PS2 feeling controls and whatnot. This series is perfect for people that want that like nostalgic feeling of classic 7th generation games, you know? It's crazy because I was seeing some tweets and shit from people saying like, oh, you know, they haven't evolved the series enough, and it's so crazy to me because, you know, this is the first mainline Katamari game in over like 10 plus years, and you're worried about like an evolution of the franchise when in reality all real Katamari fans is just more Katamari. This is all I've wanted. Like, this is incredible. This is the type of game like you don't gotta think too hard about it. You just hop on and you have an absolute blast. You listen to the incredible music being played in your ear, play the maps over and over and over again, getting higher and higher scores. I mean, it's an incredible gameplay loop. I think the comedy here is like the best it's ever been. I've actually like laughed out loud at like certain dialogue lines and cutscenes and whatnot. So this one is evolved enough for me in terms of the new like power-ups you can get in here. There's like a magnet power-up where you pop it for a little bit and it just sucks up everything in the area. I mean, that is such a cool addition. What's so crazy is this series is the best that it's ever been, and it's been lacking the original creator since the second game, Keita Takahashi. And the thing about him is, you know, he's still releasing games to this day. His most recent release was a game called To a T. I've always tried to get into his games since the departure from the Katamari series. I don't think any of them are as good as the Katamari game, sadly. I would love to support the OG creator, but I wish he just stuck with this franchise, and I would have loved to have seen what he could have done with it personally. You get like a rocket power up now, it makes you go fast as fuck, blasting through the area. Like, that's so fucking cool, dude. I will say, so, you know, there are some negatives about this game, right? And, you know, this is coming from someone that's played every single Katamari game for the most part, so a lot of it may come off as a bit nitpicky, but I truly don't mean for it to be that way. It's just something to look out for, especially if you're a big fan of these games, such as myself. But for some reason, in some levels and just sometimes, the Katamari rolling feels, like, really slow. I don't know if that's like a design choice, but like there are certain Katamari games where it feels like you actually go fast as fuck. I mean, the PSP title, you're decently fast. I don't know, like certain levels here, it's just like, damn, can we pick up the pace a little bit? And then I'm spamming the left trigger just to go faster and faster and faster, and then eventually that puts you on like a little bit of a timeout where you can't boost anymore. It's like, bro, come on, let's go. Another one of the problems here for me personally is there aren't enough like gigantic levels. You know, like one of the most life-changing moments for me was when I played Katamari Damacy for the first time, and I was just rolling up countries and countries and countries. I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And you don't really get that too much here, besides the end, but I don't want to spoil too much, obviously. Another one of my problems is, at least on the Switch version, where I did get a lot of the S ranks and I was trying to go for them, the S ranks are pretty easy. I mean, that's coming from a veteran player, I suppose, but I don't know. It felt like there was a lot of leeway for you to fuck up. But, I mean, honestly, this isn't like a competitive, sweaty game, so I'm not like tripping on it too hard, you know what I mean? It's just something to think about. I did say that the music is awesome earlier, but it doesn't have that, like, just the swag of the original, if that makes any sense. I really don't want to be too nitpicky, but the soundtrack it's just different here, and I suppose it's very opinion based, so you may think it's the best you've ever heard, but for me personally, I definitely would say I prefer a lot of the originals instead, and I'm glad they gave me the original soundtracks here so I could play with those instead sometimes. Like, the new ones aren't bad at all, do not get me wrong. I'm kind of just being a little nitpicky bitch about it, but I don't know, they just don't have like the soul, I suppose, of the older games. It's kind of hard to explain. You just gotta hear for yourself. All in all though, bro, like this is definitely a Katamari game through and through. I'd say if you even liked some of the older ones, you're gonna have a blast here no matter what. And if you've never played the Katamari games, I would say this is a great title to start with. Either this or just straight up the Katamari Damacy remaster. I mean, you can't really go wrong there. My personal favorite is We Love Katamari, and I do love the We Love Katamari remaster as well, so I recommend that perhaps. And I think for $40, you're getting way more than what you paid for here. It's such an absolute blast with a bunch of replayability, and personally, I just want everybody to buy this so they can keep making more Katamari games. it's a childhood favorite of mine. The franchise means so much to me. It's just like peak PlayStation 2 energy, and I hope they continue to make these until the end of time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on Once Upon a Katamari. I'm gonna continue to play it and try to get all the cousins and whatnot. That's really about it though, y'all. Cue the Katamari music. I love ya. Bye.